Hello, everybody. I hope you're safe and you're healthy. I'm sorry I could not be with you all at today's Human Rights Day event. I wish I could be there in person, but happy to be with you all virtually as we talk about the theme here, voting rights, and how human rights are indeed voting rights. I want to thank Kerry Wyckoff for the invitation to share a few words. Let me start by making an observation. Democracy, in my opinion, is a moral endeavor. At the heart of democracy is the recognition that there is equal dignity in each of us by virtue of our shared humanity, a humanity gifted to us by a higher power. And this equality is expressed in a democracy through the concept, one person, one vote. The power to right the wrongs of our society ought to lie equally in us all. The power to improve our society, grow our society, perfect our union should lie in us all equally. One person, one vote. And that is ultimately anchored in this concept that we are all human. That we are all human. And so when we talk about the stakes here, and we're talking about voting rights, what we're talking about fundamentally are human rights. Because at the core of this endeavor is making sure that each and every single one of us, by virtue of our shared humanity, can have equal say in the future of our society. I want to share a story with you that I hope gives you hope. I know we're going through a lot right now. I know that there's been a lot of turmoil across our country. And on the question of voting rights, we're seeing an all-out assault. There are clear voter suppression tactics. There are efforts to delegitimate the very idea of democracy. We're seeing trends not just domestically, but across the world that are leaning more towards authoritarian, autocratic type regimes. This is our fight at this moment. It is a fight for freedom. It is a fight for humanity. That is what the fight to protect the right to vote is fundamentally about. During my first year in Congress, I had the privilege, the honor of going down to Selma for the annual pilgrimage that the great late John Lewis would conduct. And he would take us, all of his colleagues, on a bipartisan basis through all the different sites and civil rights, historic moments that really allow us to transport back into time and understand the courage and the bravery it took to do that work. And we walked over the Edmund Pettus Bridge, that fateful bridge where Bloody Sunday occurred, where John Lewis had his skull bashed in order to fight for voting rights. And ultimately, out of that painful day, and out of the movement, we were able to secure the Voting Rights Act. And it was a monumental achievement, not just for African Americans, but for America, and for democracy, and for humanity. And here we are now, decades later, and we are still fighting that fight as we see the attack on voter rights be what they are. But that fight has to continue. And when I sat with the late, great John Lewis on a bus, on a tarmac, at the end of that pilgrimage, waiting for a storm to pass through before we could take flight, the two of us, just alone, by ourselves, I pressed upon him my concern for the future, desperate for guidance, desperate for answers, desperate for inspiration. And like a guru, he spoke with such conviction and peace of mind. He said, we have to love, we have to believe, and we can never give up. We can never lose our faith. We've got to stay grounded in our moral compass. We've got to find that strength in the power of love. And I wish each and every one of you could hear the conviction and the sincerity and the genuineness and the earnestness in his voice. Because that, in that moment, is what struck me the most, was how much he believed it and how much it came and emanated from within him. We need that. And I want to encourage each and every one of you to dig deep to find that. When we talk about the For the People Act, the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, what we're talking about is digging deep to find the well of power that we need to push these things through above and beyond all obstacles. Above and beyond all obstacles. So that's the message that I want to leave you with today. The fight is a real one, but it's a fight that we're capable of winning. And it's a fight that we cannot turn our back on. We simply cannot. Thank you for your recognition of this fight. Thank you for the work that each and every one of you do every single day. I love you. Please stay safe and stay healthy, and God bless.